Hey guys, it's Maymay and I'm so excited to introduce you to my new tool. This is the Altenew Stampwheel and I really do like it and I'm excited to show you all about it. Now look, it comes in this beautiful box. It's so gorgeous, so well packaged. So before we get into the tool, on the back of the box, I want to make sure that you read this section so you'll know what to do. And you might want to watch this video and use this little tip to your advantage. I just want to make sure I point this out to you. This is telling you how to get the sticky mat ready and also how to get the little wheel ready, but I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? So this is what the stamp wheel looks like, okay? It has this piece that lifts up. This is called the stage, and it lifts so you can do it like this. I'm gonna put that aside for a second. And then inside here is a photopolymer stamp, basically. It's a big old stamp, you guys, and I'm gonna tell you all about it in just a second. But when you get this in your package, it's gonna come on this label, just like when you get a stamp set, how it comes on that label. It's going to come on that, and you want to peel that off. Now it tells you all about doing that, okay? When you peel it off, you're going to have, this guy is two-sided, all right? One side is smooth and one side has this grid. Do you see that grid? You want that grid to go down into the square and you want the flat side to go up facing you. We're going to work on the flat side. So this guy is made by Altenew. You know it is quality. It's very, very nice. And on the back, it has these beautiful feet. And I'm using my glass mat, and you can see that it really sits on the mat. Do you see that, how it sits down? I love that. Matter of fact, when you want to pick it up, you have to kind of grab it, so get it back in place. And these little gold pieces right here, this is a lip. Do you see how my finger stops on that? That is what it really is, the technology between the shape here and the shape here that this fits into. That's what gives you the technology to do the circles and the wreaths and so much more, okay? That is the tool. I want to show you something about the wheel that I think is important. Let me move this out of the way. Now on the back of the box, it suggests that you pick a point on the wheel and put like an enamel dot so you can have a starting point. But I noticed that this guy has this hole cut out at the top here, so I just call that the top of mine. Now that may be something they've done since they released it. You know, a lot of times with these companies, they'll release a tool and then they'll get tips to be better and better, and every time they'll do upgrades. So this could have been an upgrade, but for me right now, that's going to be my top marker for my wheel. Now this guy is, all these little lines are important. Now you know I don't like math. Y'all know this, okay? And there's really not any math here. But I watched several videos about this tool before I used it, and one that I watched was by JC Gasper. I'm going to link his video below. I think he did such a good job explaining this wheel. And one thing I really liked that he pointed out was, first off, there are 32 lines here, okay? So you have 32 counting all of them, and then every second one gives you 16, right? Half of 32 is 16. He pointed out that if you stamp inside of two of these grid lines, like a pie shape here, if your stamp fits inside of two of those lines, you can get 16 of them on the page. Does that make sense? So if your stamp stays inside of two grids, then you'll turn it 16 times, because 2 or half of 32 is 16. Isn't that cool? So in the same vein, if you get something inside of 4 of them, so let's say we put a stamp that fits inside of 4, then we can get it 8 times on the page, if I'm doing my math right. I'm really bad at math, okay? And I'm gonna show you where that matters in a few minutes. But honestly, it's not detrimental that you know those numbers, and I don't want that to scare you away from this, because as I played with it, it just kind of made sense even though I wasn't counting, and you'll see what I mean by that in just a second. All right, so that's the wheel. I just wanted to show you that. It also has this center mark that you can use that's real handy, and all of these little pieces come in real handy. I'll show you that in a minute. Y'all are like, just get to the minute, right? I know. Okay, let's go. Now, I'm sure you've already realized by now, but we are carrying this in our store. I love this guy, so we do have it in the store available. And if you pick it up, you need to pick this up as well. This is the alignment guides, or this set is the alignment guides they made to go with this. You notice there's no real grid back here. You can put a grid behind this piece. I did with, I actually put this behind it to start with so I could see it. Just kind of stuck it down and then put the stamp on top of it. But honestly, once I use these, I realize I don't need it, and I really like these. So these alignment guides are etched for you. Can you see? That one says 4.25. So what that means is you put this in the corner, okay? And you put a piece that's 4.25 right here, and that gets you a corner to align it up with every time. And what's really cool is this stencil-y material. This is like stencil material. It sticks to this platform, which allows it to be a stencil platform as well. And I'm gonna show you that in another video. All right, so you get the 4.25 in the set. You get 5.5. You get 6 by 6. And then you also get our favorite, 4.25 by 5.5. Now it's etched, and I know it's hard to see in the camera, but there we go. We can kind of see it like that. In real life, I can see it pretty good. All right, I'm gonna put this in this far corner because you know me, I like to work with A2 cards. You can see I've already been playing, and this gets me going. I want you to see this. Do you see how this sticks? It's so good. Just wait till you use it for stencils. And if you don't want to wait on me, there's lots of videos out there of people doing that already. All right, so let's take a piece of cardstock. This is 4.25 by 5.5, and I'm gonna put it into the corner of our alignment guide and get it lined up on both sides of the guide. Now, the reason you want to do that is it brings everything to the center. Without that, you have to kind of figure out where the center is. That's why you need this guy, okay? They work great. All right, let's get started. Let's bring the wheel back over. This feels like a toy, and I love that. It just feels like something you're playing with, right? I'm gonna use one of my stamp sets called Wreath. And the reason I'm gonna use it is I want to use these small little pieces that come in it. Now this set, if you don't have a tool like this and you wanna make something similar to what I'm gonna do today, these 3 pieces layer on top of each other and you can get something similar. But I wanna show you how you can use your other stamps in your collection, just small pieces, to kind of get the same thing. So we're gonna use that set today just to show you. I'm gonna put this dark green page down here just so you can see the grid for what I'm about to show you. But other than that, we're gonna stamp on the white, okay? But this way you can see the grid. All right, remember how I told you, if you keep your stamp inside of 2 of these pie shapes, you can get 16, okay? Well, with this piece I'm gonna put down, I'm gonna end up getting 8, all right? And I'll show you why. I'm gonna live inside of 4 lines. So 4 pie shapes, I'm gonna come down here to the bottom. I'm coming kind of close, and I'll show you what my plan is. So I'm staying inside of 4 pieces, or 4 of the little pie shapes, okay? And do you see this circle that goes around like this? That lets me know where my wreath is gonna be, all right? What's important about that is, let's say you put your image up here. If you follow that circle around, look, I'm off the edge of the page here. Now that might be beautiful. It might be what you're wanting to do, but that's how you can know where your wreath will land. It won't just be kind of willy-nilly. I think I'm going to ease up a little bit and give myself a little bigger, because this way it'll go in this area, and I think that'll be pretty. All right, so I need to put it on right. I do that every time. For some reason, I have this habit of putting them down upside down, and I don't get it, but that's what I keep doing. All right, so I'm going to do that number. Perfect. All right, so let's move this green because I want to stamp on the white. And what I'm going to do here is bring over some ink. Let's use this color. This is Shady Lane from Versaclear. I can put that right there so you can see that. All right, I'm going to flip it over. All right, I'm going to place this down. Now, something I have noticed that I like to do is keep it lifted until I get 2 corners in, and then lay it down. You don't have to do much here, okay? You don't have to do much pressing. I love my impressible, but if I'm gonna use it, you just wanna place it and rub it. Don't super press, okay? And the cool thing is, let's say I stamped that and I didn't like where it is, or not didn't like, but if I didn't like how it came out, if it wasn't a full stamp, I can do it again in the very same spot. Everything's locked into place. I could ink this back up, and then I could place it again. Remember, I'm lifting it before I lay it down, and then I'm gonna lay it into the spot, and then I didn't need to do it, but I stamped right back in the same spot, okay? Now here's the fun part. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna twist. Do you see that motion? We're gonna drive the wheel around, okay? And I want them to live really close to each other. So you see right here where I'm not where I need to be? Here's what I have to tell you. You have to trust the process, okay? If you're only gonna look here, you're gonna mess yourself up, because you might think, oh, but I want it to be right there. Well, the way I have this stamp set up, I'm not gonna be able to do that. I have to let it lock into place where it's supposed to go. So I've had to teach myself to trust the process and not try to force it. If you try to stamp it where it's not supposed to go, where it won't lock in, you're gonna get a blur is what'll happen. All right, so I'm gonna turn this to the next location, okay? Now, how do you know the location? So you see that my circle is here. That's where I started, okay? And it was here. So this shows that I'm gonna move 2 spots every time, okay? That's why you wanna be able to know where you start. So always put this guy at the top, all right? So then you're gonna lift and flip. That's what I love. I love that lift and flip. I wasn't sure. I thought, I don't think I'm gonna like that whole lift and flip motion, but look how easy this is. So I was here, right? I'm gonna move 2. And remember, you're trusting the process. I moved 2, and then I'm gonna put this down and give it a press. Look at that, isn't that neat? It's quick and easy too. All right, so let's ink that whole lift and flip. So I was here, I'm gonna move 2. And again, I'm not putting it down, I'm keeping it tilted until I'm ready. And what that also allows me to do is double check my placement, okay? All right, so I'm gonna lift and flip. I'm gonna move 2, and you notice that my circle's down here in this corner, so I can even use it to move, and I can go just like this, and now I've got it lifted over here, and I'm gonna lay it down over here. I find that's better than trying to lay it straight down. I get a little bit more time. All right, let me finish this circle out. I'll let you watch me do that. So look at the wreath that I've started. Look how perfect. There's no way I could have done that by hand, you know? So easy. And like I said, I love the lift and flip motion. Do you see this? Another good thing, if you're someone who films on camera, this is really cool because I'm not having to go off screen. I'm able to just lift and flip. All right. Now I want to change out the stamp. Let's go back to the top, and I want to add another stamp. So I'm going to take this one off. Now I want to show you this because I think this is cool. This is one of those perks, right? You know I clean with Squeaky Clean and one of my microfiber cloths. By putting this back on, by locking it back into place, I'm protecting my work surface so my paper's not going to get wet, and I can go squirt just a little bit of that right there, and then I can wipe it off, wipe off the whole platform, and my project is not getting wet. How many times have you cleaned your stamp and gotten your project at the same time? Ask me how I know that happens. So another perk. Now next, I want to put a poinsettia right inside here. I want it to live between those 2 little greeneries right there. I think I need to straighten them up just a little bit. And what I've discovered is once I have these guys placed and I put this one down next, I'm good because I'm letting this be what lines me up, okay? So now let's change our ink. I'm even mixing my inks today. I'm gonna use some Simon Hurley. Let's get that out right. Some Bee Sting. I think this is a pretty red for poinsettias. So I'm gonna put that on, and I'm gonna flip this guy over. Now you notice I lined him up over there, but he'll still work over here because I lined him up where I wanted him. So press him down. Isn't that pretty? All right, let's keep going. We're gonna lift and flip and go all the way around the circle, doing just like we did earlier. Something I want to caution you about is moving too fast. I have this habit of getting very comfortable in my process, and I will go so fast. See that? If I had sat that down, I wouldn't be where I should be. Even though I got these locked in, I don't have it turned enough. I need to go one more. And so don't go too fast. This is pretty much a process, and so you don't want to have to start over any more than you really need to. And you're going to have to. It will happen. But slow down, take your time, you'll get it done. Another good thing about slowing down, and see, sometimes I just have to turn this until it gets where it goes by me watching. Another thing about slowing down is you won't accidentally drop this guy and get ink where you don't want it. Because I have this theory, for me, at some point I'm going to flip it and drop it because I enjoy that motion. So I need to slow myself down a little bit. But don't get impatient. Isn't that what crafting is? Just slowing down and enjoying our craft. Look how pretty that is. Oh my goodness, I just love it. All right, let's add some more. So you guys may already know this tip because I share it pretty often, but I like to use an eraser to set my little stamps into place because they won't stick to the eraser. They'll stick to the surface better that way. So I can place that down, put my hole at the top, sit it in, and pick that little guy up. And now we're ready to do him in another color too. Because I have it close, I'm just going to use some vintage photo. It will do a good job here. So I'm going to ink this little guy up. And then I'm going to flip this around, place it at the top, and that'll be my first one placed. Oh, that's going to be cute. All right, and then I'm going to ink it again, and you guessed it, go all the way around. Isn't that so pretty? And that's pretty easy, you guys. I find myself getting faster and faster with this too. The other thing I love about this is I'm going to be able to stamp my sentiment in the middle using the platform as well. I don't have to only do around the piece. I can also do my sentiment. So let me do that one. Now here I am going to rub over this with Impressible. I feel like this might need it, and I feel like it might need a second stamp. It doesn't. It's so good. I love this. Look how good that is. And I want to show you this. Earlier I did one where I tightened it up, and I did a couple more. I didn't like these after I got started, so I stopped. I should have done another one right there to finish this out, but I didn't like how they were kind of floating. But I love this one, and you can see that it's a little bit tighter. I came in a little closer. Isn't that pretty? I just love this. This is exactly what I wanted this stamp set for when we created it, to do the 3-layer stamps. And this way I can use it to do it like this, and I can use any stamps to do it. This is a cool tool. I really like it, and I think you're gonna like it. And this is just my first thing to show you. Let me show you this too. When you take this off, of course, don't poke into your photopolymer, okay? Don't poke into it. But you can get your paper started and just lift it slowly. And if you go under here like this just to kind of help it, it'll lift straight off, and look, no warp. And that is so cool. I just love this. I love how this looks. All right, a couple of things I want to tell you about it. This is a big photopolymer stamp. So if you use inks that stain your photopolymer stamps, they're also going to stain your surface here. It won't change anything. It won't change the way it works. It'll just be stained. As you know, most of the, I don't think I use many inks that stain my stamps. Pretty much they don't. Another thing, and other people may tell you otherwise, you just have to do what you feel good about. And here's what I want to tell you. Don't use a paper product on here like a paper towel or a baby wipe. I know from experience with my stamps, if you do that, the lint will gather and you'll lose your stickiness. And this guy, you want to keep that stickiness, okay? So what I like to do, and you saw me do it, a little bit of squeaky clean like this, and a lint-free cloth, okay? If you notice that your sticky's going away and you need to bring it back, it's really simple. You run this through the through your sink with a little bit of soapy water, let it air dry. Don't use a towel on it unless it's lint-free. Don't use a paper towel, just let it air dry. Best scenario is to maybe put it on like a drying rack so the water can just run off of it while it dries. And that, you probably won't have to do that very often if you're very careful with this. Also, here's another cool thing. When you put it down or when you're through with it, go ahead, get your stamps off of it. I should have cleaned this one, I didn't, but get your stamps off of it. And this, in and of itself, is gonna protect the photopolymer from losing its stick. Because even if you sit this off on your desk and then like throw something on top of it like this, nothing's gonna be sticking inside of there. And I love that. No, like we're not having to put a piece of acetate over it or something like that. All right, guys, that's a first look. I'm just giving you a first look. I'm in love. Wait till you see what it does with stencils. And I have a new stencil I want to use on it. So watch for that video coming up really soon. Maybe even my next video, but I'm excited to try this for stencils. All right, guys, that's my first look at the stamp wheel. I'm so excited to have it in my collection. I think it's going to change Christmas for me. I think it's going to give us a lot of things we can do for Christmas. I challenge you to go watch some videos. If you place an order while it's on its way to you, go ahead and watch some videos and get comfortable with it, especially the one that I linked below by JC. I think you'll really like learning his whole math situation. I think that's very helpful. Thanks so much for being here. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you like these kinds of videos. And if you get one of these and you make something so beautiful, because I know that you will, share it with us over on our customer gallery. We love to see what you guys are making. That's at MaymayMadeIt.com. You can also join our Facebook group, which we will have linked below, so you can go over there and join the group and see what everybody else is doing. Hey, thanks so much for being here today. And until next time, bye now.